your interests. Hi, this is Ellen J. Mann, and you're watching the Honor Yourself First show, the place to be for education and inspiration on discovering or rediscovering the real you and having the life that you desire and deserve. And today, I have with me Janine Penner. Last episode, I took you through the passion test. It's a test that was developed by Chris and Janet Atwood to really hone in on the top 5 passions that are important to you. Because we know that the most successful people in the world, the one thing they all had in common was that they were living their top 5 passions. So anyways, you went through that process, that whole testing and prioritization, and how did that go for you? How did you feel about it?
It brought up, as I expected it to, things that I kind of thought would happen. We were able to hone in on what I am interested in, what I value, and what I'm passionate about. So it was an interesting exercise.
Yeah, excellent. It always has some sort of revealing thing behind it, which I really appreciate. So today we're going to go through and discover and develop your markers. And I thought we could brainstorm a little bit about that so you could really do that. So markers are the evidence that you're living in your passions. And the Atwoods included it into the passion test based on a story that they had heard, actually an experience they had with someone in India. And his name was Pankaj Nehru. He's an Ayurvedic physician. And when they were over in India, they met him, and he was packing up all of his stuff and getting ready to go somewhere. And they said, well, Pankaj, where are you going? And he said, I am on a quest to discover the next part of my life. And they said, really? He said, yeah, I've accomplished everything and more than I ever wanted to accomplish. So Janet asked him, Pankaj, well, tell us your story, because we'd like to share that with other people. And so Pankaj explained that back 20 years ago, he was this little bald-headed guy that was a Ayurvedic physician, and he was having struggles with his career. In fact, he wasn't healing anybody, which was kind of bad. And he said one day he met one of his former patients on the street, and his patient looked wonderful. And he said, did I do that? Yeah. And the guy said, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't you. Oh, no. So he said, well, who did this? And he said, well, I've been with a physician who's 100 years old, and he's healed me. And so Pankaj said, well, I'd like to meet this physician. So the man took Pankaj to meet this physician, and Pankaj was so impressed by him that he said, I want to study under you. And the physician said, well, okay, but I want to ask you some questions first. And Pankaj said, okay. He said, what would you really like to do? What's your dream? Mm-hmm. And he said, I would like to be healing or taking the pulse of thousands of people, in our area and throughout the world. And he said, okay, write that down. So Pankaj did. And he wrote, I want 1,000 patients. And I want to heal them. And he said, well, if you could have anything in the world, after you've accomplished this, what would you like? And he said, well, I would like to have clinics throughout the world. And he said, okay, we'll write that down. So he wanted clinics, and he didn't name the number of clinics, but we'll just say throughout the world. Okay, so if you accomplish that, the master said, what next would you like to accomplish? Well, I would like to take the pulse of the Dalai Lama. So he said, write that down. I'm going to spell this wrong. Dalai Lama. And he said, okay, if you accomplish that, what else would you like? He said, well, I would like Mother Teresa to thank me for the work that I've done. He said, okay, write that down. So Mother Teresa, I spelled this wrong too, but that's okay. So Janet said to Pankaj, she said, well, did you accomplish these things? And he said, yes, and more. I've treated 1 million patients. I have clinics in 16 countries. I have taken the pulse of the Dalai Lama many times. And in the 1980s, Mother Teresa came to him and thanked him for the work that he did with HIV.
Nice.
Yeah. So Pankaj not only wanted to be the best Ayurvedic physician that there was, but he had specific things that would tell him that he was really doing it. And so based on this practice, Janet and Chris said, well, we're going to adopt this, and we're going to call these markers. And markers, again, are evidence that we're living in our passions. So I thought today what we would do is take a look at the top passions that you had, that you came up with, and we would brainstorm on some markers for you.
Okay.
And what I'd like you to do, based on Pankaj's story, is to think big.
Okay.
To me, markers are dreams. They're things that we would really love to accomplish if time, money was no object. So think way out of the box. Think as big as you'd like. And then also remember the other, and I'll remind you of the other passions that you listed that weren't on the top 5, because we're going to try to incorporate those as well too.
Okay.
All right? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so our first passion was God winks. A term or phrase that you and your dad have come up with. So, if you were living fully in your passions, what would you see as God winks for you?
Gosh. Just little coincidences that really can't be coincidences.
Okay. So can we put something measurable to that? Because setting markers are measurable, like 1,000 patients, 1,000,000 patients. So how many God winks would you like to see in your ideal life a day?
1 a day.
Okay, so yeah, just one? Okay. So 1 God wink a day. A day. Okay. And God winks are those things, again, that you can't explain, right?
They're coincidences that really can't be coincidences.
Okay.
Because it's just too weird.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So 1 God wink a day. Can we think of some other things that might prove that you are fully living in the God wink world? I like that.
People telling me stories of their own experiences with that.
Okay.
Reports of God winks, I guess.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of?
Not at the moment.
Okay. So, in your ideal world, or life, you're getting at least 1 God wink a day, and people are reporting to you of God winks. How will they report that to you?
Just by either Facebook message, hey, you'll never guess what happened, or just in passing, mentioning it. That's how I heard about the honey story from my dad.
Okay. I'm not going to. This may not be your dream, but here's just an idea of thinking bigger than life. What if you could have a site where you did have God wink reports, and you were getting them all over the world, people reporting
Yeah.
God winks. And you could even write a book, that you love to write, on God winks. So that's what I'm...
Good idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's really cool.
What?
I like setting up a website for
Okay.
reports of that kind of stuff.
I don't want to talk you into your dreams.
Yeah.
I need you to think really big.
Yeah.
So, we'll say international God wink reports. And then when you got all those together, not to set a dream for you,
Right.
but Marcy Shimoff was worked with Jack Canfield and the other co-writer of Chicken Soup for the Souls, and she was the one that came up with Chicken Soup for Women, Soul for Women, and that's all she did. Was she
Just
started
collect
collecting
stories, yeah.
and publishing them. So awesome. So there is some ideas for your first passion.
Okay.
Okay, your second passion was to hang out with your family. Okay, so in your ideal life, where you're fully living your passion of hanging out with your family, what do you see going on?
I don't know. Like, we would take a big trip someplace. Like,
Okay.
we'd all go to Europe for 2 weeks. I don't know.
Weeks to Europe, which incorporates one of your other passions, which was travel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else?
Just spending holidays together. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter.
Okay. So spending all your holidays together?
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Okay, then you had another passion that was researching your family history.
Yeah, that could be tied into
Yeah.
just talking about what they remember and researching it together.
Oh, that's great. And it's the together part again, too. All right, anything else what does hanging out mean to you?
We just sit and talk for a long time, for hours.
Okay.
The women in my family, we just sit and we visit. Sometimes we'll play a board game or a card game or something. But most of the time it's just talking about life, events, problems, whatever
Awesome.
happens to come up.
Sweet. So anything else that you could think? Thinking big, maybe? Taking trips together, that's cool. If you could do weeks or months, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, spend a month in Europe.
Yeah.
That would be so crazy. I love that.
Well, let's just change that then.
Okay. Dream big.
Dream big. Except for I can't spell months, but months to Europe. Awesome. Okay. Let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 was writing fiction. Now this one's really cool because you are a writer and you're looking for employment.
Yes.
and you said, oh, I need to find a big girl job.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about passions. Most people don't understand that they can monetize anything. They can make writing fiction a job if that's really what they would like to do. And sometimes we get into the trap of thinking, well, no, I got to have a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 and whatever. But that's really not true. And that's why 80% of the U.S. population who are working are unhappy with their jobs. It's because they're not living in their passions.
Right.
So, all right, so you're writing fiction. So give me some markers or some dreams, some evidence that you would be living fully in your passions writing fiction.
Research trips to either various countries I would be researching or museums that would have documents that I was looking at.
Okay, research trip for books all over the world.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. What else?
I'm covering 50 pages a day.
Oh.
I don't know if that's realistic or not, but hey.
50?
50.
Okay.
They don't have to be good pages. They're just pages.
Exactly. That's why you have editors, you know. All right. So you're writing 50 pages a day. So, what about having a bestseller book?
That too.
Okay. Let's put that. Was that okay if I put that down?
Yeah.
All right. How many bestsellers do you want?
I'd like to tie with J.K. Rowling, so I'm going to say 7. I don't know if they'll all be connected like her Harry Potter series was, but hey, I would love to have 7 best-selling books.
Nice.
That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. So, what else?
I'm able to talk about my books and like give interviews and talk about the characters.
Okay, so
and
you're being interviewed.
Yeah.
Anybody special?
Oprah? I don't know. Just the first name that comes to mind, but somebody cool like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I don't know if she still has her best-selling. She had books that she recommended. It was the Oprah list.
Yeah.
But you could be on her list. Wouldn't that be cool?
I would also like to hear of a kid somewhere who's read my book and said, I want to be a writer now too. That would be the highest of achievements, I think.
Nice. So you're picking up speed here. I like
think
this.
so.
Okay. Does one of your passions here, studying history, especially women in history, does that tie into this at all?
Yes, it would, since most of my fiction has to do with women.
Okay.
Most of my lead characters are women.
So it goes into research.
That would, yeah.
And you could be interviewing current women too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So that was number 3. Let's look at number 4. I'm going to love this one because number 4 was discussing literature. And analyzing. Discussing and analyzing literature. Okay, so when you are discussing and analyzing literature and you're really doing a lot of it, you're just living fully in it, what does that look like?
It looks like my college literature class. There's a professor and there's other people there who've read the same, we've all read the same thing. Some of us like it, some of us don't. But it's a civilized discussion about characters and the plot and what the author was trying to say. So, and we talked before we began filming about Much Ado About Nothing, and it's one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. And I've always wanted to be in it. And so maybe that would be in the context of performing that play, that we would be talking about this literature and perhaps even other books that were written at the time, so that we would all get this, we would get the culture of that era.
Okay. So how would you do this?
Well, we'd probably read the book or read the play, depending on what we were talking about, and then come together and someone would kind of lead the discussion. And then it would just go from there. Like, it could just go anywhere.
Okay. So would you be open to organizing that and leading that? Or
I don't know at this point.
Okay.
I don't know.
So
I think I could, but it wouldn't be my first choice.
okay, that's all I need to know. So you would like to be involved in a, well, for lack of a better term, a literature group. Locally, how do you?
Preferably locally, but I'm open to anything.
Okay. We'll just put locally for right now.
Okay.
You know, we also talked about monetizing, and this could be an area where you could monetize it as well. And with the internet, you could have a literature group,
Online forum kind of things.
Yeah. So we could put online forums. That you could at least maybe start. You could have somebody else lead it, but you could do that. And there could be a way to monetize it as well too. What if you were the one that it's like having a newsletter, a paid newsletter, but it could be a paid membership into this literature group, and you could have some of the greatest people in the world do it, involved in that. And who might be some of those people that you'd like involved in that group? And think big.
Think really big. J.K. Rowling.
How do you spell her last
Rowling.
Okay.
There's an actor called David Tennant. He's been in Shakespeare before. An actress named Eve Best, E-V-E, Best. And various scholars of literature or professors of literature. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
All right. So wouldn't that be cool?
That would be insane. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Once I got over the starstruckness of being in the same room with J.K. Rowling, David Tennant, and Eve Best, then I think it would be really awesome. It would be a great discussion.
Exactly. And we could talk about that limiting belief on your...
Yeah.
Because J.K. Rowling was, broke and
She was, and she's,
yeah,
from what I understand, she's also a very private person.
yeah.
So, feasibility, we're not worrying about feasibility right now.
Exactly. So the fifth passion that you had was on marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. And another passion that you had on your list was children too.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just do the last one really quick, and I'll let you dream on that one.
Okay.
So in your ideal world, you're married. Tell me more about that.
Good marriage, good guy, family man.
So you know your characteristics.
Yes.
And you have found that.
Have found him, yeah. Him. We're finding him.
Okay, and also you had children in there.
Mm-hmm.
So how many kids do you want?
2.
2? How many? Or all boys, all girls, half?
A girl and a boy.
Okay. And you also qualified that you wanted a happy marriage too.
I did.
Okay. So happy is important when you're writing down your markers or your passions on your. Make sure that you write in the characteristics that you want about that. So another good thing would be on marriage is maybe people come up to you and say, "Gosh, how do you do it?" Right?
Mm-hmm. Prayer and coffee will probably be my answer. And I should clarify too, I understand that whoever I marry, the marriage will not be perfect, because perfect marriages don't exist, because it's two very imperfect people. So
That's
happy,
true.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Imperfect, I'm okay with, but as long as we can make it work
Okay.
and be happy.
Excellent. So to wrap this up then, I've asked you to write down your 5 passions on cards and put this or something better at the bottom of it and post it all over the house, or wherever you will see it and read it.
Yeah.
And then I would take time to take those passions, those top 5 passions, and then write down underneath it the markers that you expect to see. And allow yourself to be totally out of the box and as big as you like.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my passions is to enjoy time with my family, quality time, and to travel the world with them. And one of my markers is that my house looks like the National Geographic. I've got pictures from all over the world. I've got memorabilia, and people could actually walk around the world in my house.
Nice.
Now, is it that way right now? No. But, dreams should be big. And God planted those dreams in your mind. And He plants the big ones as well, too.
Yeah.
And so He wants you to have those. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. So any questions?
Not right now.
Okay. So today I want to thank you again
Sure.
for joining me, Janie.
Absolutely.
I want to thank my crew, my awesome crew, and my viewers. Thank you for joining us. The next series or the next episodes, I'll be bringing some experts on finances, experts on meditation, wellness, holistic wellness, and I hope that you'll join us for those sessions and those episodes. And I just want to thank you again for being here. And most importantly, I want to just remind you that you have just one life. So why not live it to its fullest and be the light that God intended you to be? Thank you.